Peter isn't happy with the fact that they walk to the restaurant instead of driving, and it seems to take ages. His mother, aunt, and cousin James walk ahead. So when did George get transferred? Helen asks her sister-in-law. A couple of weeks ago. Joe replies. I thought he would have told me. Helen says. He is my brother after all. He's not too happy about it. The company have been restructuring over the last few months and he was given the choice of a redundancy or a transfer, she explains. And we can't really survive on just my wage, so he had to take the transfer. It's less pay, but it's better than nothing. That's probably dented his pride a bit. Does he work every evening? Morning and evening on a 5 till 8 split shift, 6 days a week. Joe states. I thought we'd have seen him. Helen says, knowing they arrived no later than 3:30. Well, to be honest, it has dented his pride. He knew you and Peter were dropping in and decided to leave a bit early. Why on earth would he do that? Helen asked, feeling more than a little offended that her own brother had actively avoided them. He has to wear a uniform and is not quite ready for you to see him in it. Oh, I see, she says, realizing the obvious. Her sister-in-law describes the plain domestic frock her husband now wears for work, along with the tabard he wears over it. It's having to wear tights and heels too that he's really struggling with. Joe adds. She says, trying to visualize her brother. It must be hard for him, but the world is changing. It is, and for the better. Joe replies. Michael wasn't happy when I took his last pair of trousers, but it's only fair, if his father has to wear a frock for work then he should wear a skirt for school. Yes. I'm still toying with how to get Peter to wear one. We have a kind of deal where, if more than half the boys in class are wearing skirts then he should too. Helen explains. Just buy him one and be done with it. Joe suggests. He'll spit and shout and curse, but it's not his decision. It was only a couple of weeks ago I finally put a stop to Michael dressing like a girl. And how's he getting on? Helen asks. Well, how do you think he's getting on? Joe asks. Helen turns around to check on her son and nephew who walk a few yards behind. They do look pretty, she observes. Yes, like proper young men. Joe smiles. You're being quiet, Pete, his cousin Michael says as Peter hasn't spoken a word since they left the house. Peter tells him that he feels really weird being dressed like this in broad daylight. I thought you'd have got used to it since your birthday. Michael replies, assuming that Peter is now wearing a dress on a daily basis. Not outside though. Peter gulps. I have to wear a dress every Sunday and I'm not going to leave the house if I can help it. Why not? Duh, Peter retorts, because I'm wearing a dress. Michael empathizes with his cousin and reminisces over his transitional period. When it was only once in a while I used to hate wearing them, unlike James, he explains, glancing down the lane toward his younger brother, his ringlets and ribbons bouncing as he intermittently skips to keep up with the adults. But then Mum decided I had to wear a skirt or dress all the time. What? Just like that? No pants? Well, Michael continued, I talked her into letting me wear my school pants, which was a fair deal I guess. So how come you started wearing a school skirt? Peter asks. I thought you'd be the last person to give in. Mum just decided a couple of weeks ago. Michael shrugged. You know how they are, this idea that wearing pants is all of a sudden dressing like a girl. Tell me about it. Peter agrees. Even if Mum did buy me a school skirt I'd still wear my pants whether she liked it or not, he defiantly added. That's what I thought until one day I didn't have any pants. Michael replied. Once I'd got my head around the fact that skirts and dresses are in fact boys' clothes, it's not so bad. Michael says. Call me weird, but I don't really miss my pants anymore. You're weird. Peter teases. I don't think I'd ever get used to dressing like this all the time, he adds, looking down at himself. And these tights are itchy. They look nice though. Michael states. And they don't itch if you shave your legs. It's late in the evening when Peter and his mother arrive home. Peter is back in his school pants and his mother says, well, that was nice, wasn't it? I wasn't expecting to be taken out for a meal. Peter confesses that he wasn't expecting that either. You know Michael hasn't got any boy clothes at all now. You mean pants? His mother replies as her son nods. They're hardly boys' clothes these days, she reminds him for the umpteen millionth time, and you looked lovely in his dress. I might buy you one like that. Peter admits that he liked it more than any of his own dresses, but isn't quite so sure if he'd want one of his own. I couldn't believe it when I had to wear makeup too. You didn't waste any time jumping on the stool, his mother grins. And you've not exactly rushed to wash it off either. Peter blushes and gets up to wash it off, but his mother talks him into keeping it on until bedtime. The following day, Peter returns home from school and hooks his bag on the back of a chair before making himself a drink. As of today, there are now 5 boys in his class wearing skirts, leaving 8, including himself, who continue to wear pants. Some of the boys who do wear a skirt are such sissies, with their pigtails and ribbons and fluffy pink pencil cases. Others clearly wear their skirts under duress and carry a look of shame wherever they go. Of late, Peter has been getting bullied by some of the girls for not wearing a skirt, which isn't nice. He's not the only boy they bully, but since his birthday party and the dress that went with it, he's been targeted. There's nothing weirder than being told you're dressing like a girl by simply wearing pants. I've always worn pants, he'd retort. A couple of years ago we never wore skirts or dresses, he'd claim, just before a knee whacked his groin. It doesn't happen every day and sometimes not even every week, but in Peter's mind, it's better than wearing a skirt for school. He's not alone, as other boys get the same treatment. The teachers are fully aware, but being an all-female staff, apart from the cleaners, they simply feel the targeted boys are just making life hard for themselves. He hasn't told his mum because she'd just use it as an excuse. He's determined not to give in and end up wearing a stupid skirt every day for school. Wearing a dress every Sunday is bad enough. The following Monday, Andrew Carter turns up in a skirt. It looks like he's been drugged, transformed, then hypnotized, as he was one of the least likely to comply with modern fashions. The girls gave him a round of applause when he entered the form room that morning. The previous Friday he was a typical scruffy lad with unkempt, uncombed hair, old baseball boots, baggy pants and an oversized jumper, over a badly tied tie and an unironed and probably unwashed shirt. Today his hair has been washed, untangled, straightened, and cut into a short, sharp bob. He wears a fitted blouse with his tie tied short and smart. A fitted jumper leads the eye down to his short pleated skirt, beneath which emerge a pair of slim, smooth legs. On his feet is a pair of heeled lace-up brogues. He walks confidently, takes his reception gracefully and sits at his desk, displaying a confidence hitherto unknown to him. Everything about his appearance is perfect, and he clearly knows it. Peter's a liberal. If Andrew Carter, unlikely as it may seem, wants to go sissy, that's fine, and at least he does it well. In the eyes of the girls, he's shot from zero to hero with his new look. On the one hand, Peter thinks good on him. It's a huge improvement on the distant, disheveled demeanor he had last week, but on the other hand, it means there's now 6 boys in skirts and 7 in pants. Peter ponders the loose deal he made with his mother and hopes it slipped her mind. For if one more boy gives in, thus tipping the balance, Peter has to wear a skirt too. Hopefully she's forgotten all about it. He hopes. Hopefully. Hoping.